Chosen one. I witnessed the nights you cried in silence because you were overlooked, didn't I? I saw the moments you questioned your worth, wondering why your loyalty, your discipline, your integrity were treated as if they meant nothing. That was not supposed to be your story. You were never meant to be diminished. You deserve respect, like the top 1%. Chosen one, you are not here by accident. This moment was arranged by heaven with precision. You didn't stumble onto this message, you were summoned. Right now, you are standing at the edge of a supernatural shift where God begins to elevate what has been hidden and honor what has been tested. Scripture reminds us that the vision awaits its appointed time, as written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, and this moment is closer than you think. If you stay with this message, clarity will replace confusion. You will understand why the delay existed, why respect seemed withheld, and what God has been shaping inside you all along. This is not about ego. This is about alignment, authority, and becoming unignorable through obedience and consistency. Chosen one. Before we go deeper, I want you to seal this moment. Subscribe to this channel as an act of faith. Comment 777 below as a declaration that you know you are chosen. And make a quiet promise to yourself to watch this message all the way through, because God has never abandoned you, and by the end, you will see it clearly. Chosen one. There was a season when I needed to be liked so badly that I slowly traded away my authority without realizing it. I didn't call it compromise back then. I called it being kind, being flexible, being understanding. But heaven later showed me the truth. Every time I chose approval over alignment, I taught people how to treat me. And the same may be true for you. You are not disrespected because you lack value. You are disrespected because you have been carrying greatness with the posture of permission instead of authority. I know this place. I lived here longer than I should have. I smiled in rooms that drained me. I stayed silent when my spirit was warning me. I tolerated conversations, habits, and environments that I knew were beneath where God was taking me, all because I didn't want to disrupt the peace. But chosen one, peace that costs you your identity is not peace at all. Heaven began to deal with me when I finally understood this respect does not begin in other people's mouths. It begins in how you govern yourself when no one is watching. The first one who must honor you is you, not with words, with decisions, with boundaries, with the courage to walk away from what God has already outgrown in your life. There was a time when I spent energy trying to fit into places that were never assigned to me. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I was being patient. But the truth was simpler and harder. I was afraid to stand alone. And fear will always disguise itself as humility if you let it. But God does not elevate those who shrink. He elevates those who align. Chosen one. If you are constantly adjusting yourself to keep others comfortable, you are not being refined, you are being diluted. Heaven never called you to blend in. Heaven called you to stand firm. That is why your spirit has felt restless. That is why certain rooms no longer feel safe. That is why old dynamics suddenly feel heavy. God is not confusing you. He is calling you higher. When respect is absent, your voice becomes background noise. Your insight is overlooked. Your contribution is minimized. You can be the most loving person in the room, but without spiritual authority, love alone will not protect your assignment. Authority is built through alignment, not charm, through clarity, not compromise. And this is where consistency comes in chosen one. Heaven builds authority the same way it builds faith over time through obedience. Anyone can show up once. Anyone can speak boldly on a good day. But the ones who carry weight are the ones who show up again and again, even when it costs them comfort. I learned this in simple ways. Promises I kept when no one was tracking me. Follow-ups I did when it would have been easier to disappear. Small disciplines I honored even when they produced no immediate applause. Consistency is quiet, but it is loud in the spirit. It tells heaven you can be trusted, and it tells people you are not negotiable. Chosen one. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when no one sees it, something locks into place inside you. Confidence is not a feeling. It is the byproduct of integrity practiced over time. And people sense this. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. They begin to know they can count on you. And what people can count on, they respect. In contrast, inconsistency teaches people to bypass you. I've seen it happen. I've felt it happen. When your words and your actions don't align, people stop waiting on you. They stop expecting much. Not because they are cruel, but because they are adapting. And chosen one, heaven does not promote those who cannot steward what is already in their hands. If you want to be trusted with more, you must first master what is in front of you. God does not test you with abundance first. He tests you with follow-through. This is also where boundaries become sacred, not harsh, not angry, sacred. A boundary is simply the line where your assignment is protected. And every chosen one must learn this lesson. Boundaries do not work unless they are enforced. I know how difficult this is. Cutting access feels cruel when you have a kind heart. Saying no feels like betrayal when history is involved. But hear me clearly, every time you allow disrespect to remain, you invite confusion into your calling. God is not offended by your boundaries. He designed them. I had to learn to ask myself hard questions. What am I no longer willing to tolerate? What drains me instead of sharpening me? What conversations leave me smaller instead of stronger? When I finally honored those answers, something surprising happened. My life didn't collapse. It clarified. Chosen one. When you remove those who consistently dishonor your boundaries, you don't go backward. You create space. Space for alignment. Space for strength. Space for the people who recognize your value without needing you to explain it. Then comes mastery. And this is where many misunderstand respect. Respect is not granted because you are nice. It is earned because your presence produces results. Wherever God plants you, something should improve. Your home, your work, your environment, your craft. I learned to stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "Is this better because I am here?" When you master what God has placed in your hands, you no longer need to announce your worth. Evidence does it for you. Chosen one. Pick one thing, not everything. One thing you will steward with excellence. One area you will pursue until results cannot be denied. Heaven honors focus. And when results begin to speak, respect follows naturally. This is not striving. This is stewardship. And stewardship attracts favor. Finally, remember this truth and let it settle deep. Your actions always speak louder than your intentions. Heaven watches what you do with what you've been given. People respond to what you demonstrate, not what you promise. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are being prepared. God is not withholding respect from you. He is building the version of you that can carry it without losing your soul. Stand firm, stay consistent, protect your boundaries. Master your assignment, and let your actions testify, because when heaven finishes this work in you, respect will no longer be requested. It will be unavoidable. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven stops asking you to tolerate what it has already outgrown. That moment is not loud. It does not arrive with thunder. It shows up as discomfort, as a quiet tightening in your spirit when you walk into rooms you used to belong in, as a heaviness after conversations that once felt normal. This is not rebellion rising in you. This is discernment. I remember the first time I realized that being agreeable was slowly eroding my authority. I wasn't being mistreated in obvious ways. No one shouted, no one insulted me directly, but decisions were made without me. My input was acknowledged politely, then ignored. I was invited but not consulted, present but not influential. And heaven whispered, "This is what happens when you carry oil but refuse to guard it." Chosen one oil attracts attention, but it also attracts friction. If you do not set boundaries around what God has entrusted to you, people will draw from you without ever honoring you. That is not because they are evil, it is because access without structure breeds entitlement. And entitlement will always disrespect what it did not have to earn. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. They determine who gets access, when, and at what level. And the truth many chosen ones struggle with is this: the moment you enforce a boundary, you will be tested. People who benefited from your silence will suddenly accuse you of changing, of becoming distant, of thinking you're better than them. But hear me clearly, chosen one. When God elevates you, some people will feel abandoned, even though you never left them. You simply stopped shrinking. There was a season when I thought being firm meant being cold. I feared that if I said no, I would lose relationships. And yes, some relationships did fall away. But what replaced them was clarity. And clarity is expensive. It costs you comfort, but it pays you in peace. Chosen one heaven never asked you to be accessible to everyone. It asked you to be faithful to the assignment. And assignments require protection. Even Jesus withdrew. Even he limited access. Not everyone who followed him walked with him closely. There were crowds, there were disciples, and there was an inner circle. That was not favoritism. That was order. You are allowed to choose your inner circle. You are allowed to decide who gets your time, your insight, your energy. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. When you treat yourself as valuable, others are trained to do the same. And this brings us deeper into the mystery of respect. Respect is not demanded, it is modeled. People learn how to treat you by watching how you treat your calling. If you rush what God told you to pace, people will rush you. If you undervalue what God told you to guard, people will do the same. Heaven watches these choices closely because they determine your capacity for the next level. Chosen one, you have been praying for elevation, but elevation changes how people see you. It separates. It exposes motives. It requires you to be okay with misunderstanding. The higher you go, the fewer people will have access to your inner world. This is not loneliness. This is altitude. I learned this lesson painfully when I realized that familiarity had stripped my voice of weight in certain spaces. People had known me when I was still discovering myself. They remembered the earlier version of me, and instead of updating their perception, they kept interacting with the old image. At first, I tried to correct it with explanations, then with performance. Finally, heaven taught me the way of silence and distance. Sometimes the most powerful boundary is not confrontation. It is consistency paired with space. When people see that you no longer negotiate your standards, they adjust or they drift. Either way, clarity is restored. Chosen one. This season you are in is not about proving yourself. It is about positioning yourself. And positioning requires patience. You will not see immediate validation. In fact, you may experience increased resistance right before breakthrough. This is normal. Resistance often intensifies when alignment solidifies. Do not misinterpret pushback as failure. Often it is confirmation. Now let us talk about mastery, because heaven ties respect to results. Not shallow success, but tangible fruit. God does not anoint laziness. He anoints diligence. He blesses hands that work with intention. And this is where many chosen ones feel conflicted. You carry spiritual depth, but you hesitate to pursue excellence because you fear becoming worldly. But excellence is not pride. Excellence is worship expressed through discipline. When you master your craft, you are not chasing applause. You are honoring the gift. Whether that gift is leadership, creativity, communication, or problem-solving, it was entrusted to you for a reason. And when you neglect it, you do not remain humble, you remain hidden. I had to confront this myself. I could pray, discern, encourage, but heaven challenged me. Are you developing the skills that allow this anointing to move through structure? Anointing without skill frustrates people. Skill without anointing impresses them temporarily, but when both align, respect becomes effortless. Chosen one focus is a form of faith. When you choose one area to develop deeply, you are telling heaven, I will steward this well. And stewardship unlocks increase. People trust those who demonstrate mastery because mastery signals commitment. It signals depth. It signals reliability. Do not scatter yourself trying to be everything at once. That is a trap. Choose one lane, one assignment, one area where you will show up relentlessly. Over time, evidence will accumulate, and evidence silences doubt better than explanations ever could. This is also why heaven emphasizes consistency so strongly. Consistency is the language of trust. People may doubt your intentions, but they cannot argue with your patterns. When your actions align day after day, something shifts. Conversations change, opportunities open, invitations arrive without you asking. Chosen one, you are not waiting on respect. Respect is waiting on you to become unmovable in your alignment. And let me speak to the ache you carry quietly. The ache of knowing you have more in you than what has been recognized. That ache is not ambition, it is awareness. God would not reveal capacity without intention to use it, but He also does not release prematurely. He develops character first, because character is what keeps respect from corrupting you once it arrives. You are being shaped to carry influence without losing compassion, authority without arrogance, visibility without compromise. That process is uncomfortable, but it is sacred. If you feel stretched, it is because you are growing. If you feel misunderstood, it is because your language is changing. If you feel alone at times, it is because old alignments cannot follow you into new dimensions. Chosen one, you are not failing, you are transitioning. Stay grounded, stay obedient, stay disciplined. Let heaven finish its work in you. The respect you seek is not being withheld, it is being prepared. And when it arrives, it will not feel forced. It will feel natural, like order restored, like weight returning to your words, like rooms shifting when you enter, not because you demand attention, but because alignment carries presence. You were never meant to beg for respect. You were meant to grow into a posture that makes disrespect impossible. Chosen one, there is a sacred transition that happens when you stop explaining yourself and start embodying what heaven has already spoken over you. This shift is subtle, but it is powerful. It is the moment when you realize that clarity does not come from convincing others, it comes from alignment with God. And alignment changes how you carry yourself long before it changes how others treat you. I remember a season when I felt compelled to justify every decision. If I said no, I explained. If I pulled back, I apologized. If I changed direction, I over-communicated. I thought transparency would earn understanding, but heaven showed me something deeper. Explanation is often the language of insecurity. Authority does not announce itself. It settles into a room quietly and waits. Chosen one. When you know who you are, you do not rush to be understood. You move with intention. You speak when necessary. You let silence do the work that words never could. And this does not mean becoming distant or cold. It means becoming rooted. Rooted people are steady. They do not sway with every opinion. They do not chase affirmation. They do not panic when they are misunderstood. This is where many chosen ones struggle, because your heart is open, empathetic and aware. You feel deeply. You sense atmospheres. You read between the lines. But sensitivity without grounding becomes exhaustion. God did not give you discernment so you could carry everyone else's emotional weight. He gave it to guide your steps. Respect grows when people sense that you are not easily moved, that your decisions are not reactions, that your presence is intentional. When you stop reacting, you begin responding, and response carries authority. Chosen one, there is a difference between humility and self-erasure. Humility honors God. Self-erasure denies the gift. Many have confused the two. They shrink themselves in the name of humility, but heaven never asked you to disappear. It asked you to submit. Submission is alignment with God's will, not the absence of your voice. When you silence yourself to keep peace, you do not preserve unity, you create imbalance. Over time, imbalance breeds resentment, and resentment poisons your spirit. God wants you whole, not agreeable. This is why self-respect is foundational, not prideful confidence, not self-worship, but holy self-respect, the understanding that if God entrusted you with an assignment, it deserves honor. You cannot honor the assignment while dishonoring the vessel. I had to learn this when I realized that my fatigue was not from work, it was from misalignment. I was pouring into places that could not receive me. I was giving access without discernment. And heaven corrected me gently but firmly. Stop bleeding where you were meant to build. Chosen one. Not every environment is meant to receive you. Some places will only drain you. And the sign is this: you leave feeling smaller, foggier, less clear. That is not the cost of obedience. That is the cost of staying where God has already released you from. Respect grows when you honor the signals in your spirit, when you trust the discomfort, when you stop dismissing the inner nudge that says, "This no longer fits." God speaks through peace, but he also speaks through tension. The tension is not always resistance. Sometimes it is redirection. Now let us talk about time, because respect is revealed through seasons. The top 1% do not rush their authority. They let time confirm what words cannot. They understand that longevity builds credibility. Anyone can appear powerful briefly. Few can sustain integrity over time. Chosen one, heaven is more interested in who you become consistently than who you appear to be momentarily. This is why delays are holy. They are not punishments, they are protections. Protection from premature exposure, protection from attention you are not yet prepared to steward. I know how difficult this is when you feel ready inside, when your spirit is awake, but your circumstances lag behind. This gap can be frustrating, but the gap is where character is forged, where habits are formed, where private victories accumulate. You are being trained to move without applause, to show up without recognition, to build without validation. And these quiet disciplines are shaping you into someone who will not crumble when respect finally arrives. Chosen one, ask yourself this: if respect came today, would it refine you or reveal cracks? God answers that question before he releases elevation. He prepares the container before he pours the oil. This preparation often looks like obscurity, like repetition, like doing the same right thing over and over with little feedback. But heaven is watching patterns, not moments, and patterns tell the truth. When your actions align with your prayers gain weight. When your lifestyle matches your declarations, heaven responds. Respect is not a reward, it is a response to alignment. There is also a truth you must embrace: not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will resist it, others will diminish it, a few will attempt to control it. This is not personal, it is positional. Your growth challenges the comfort of those who benefited from your previous version. Do not let their discomfort pull you backward. When God upgrades you, some connections will feel strained. That strain is not failure, it is separation, and separation is often the doorway to expansion. Chosen one. The people meant to walk with you in the next season will not require you to explain your worth. They will recognize it. They will respect your boundaries without negotiation. They will value your time. They will listen when you speak. This is why you must not cling to relationships that require constant justification. You are not called to convince. You are called to steward. Now let me speak to your inner posture, because this is where respect begins to manifest outwardly. Walk slower. Speak less. Listen deeper. Observe before you respond. These are not signs of weakness. They are markers of authority. When you enter a room without rushing to be seen, the room eventually notices you. When you speak after listening, your words land with weight. When you stop trying to control perception, perception adjusts on its own. Chosen one. Your presence carries more power than your explanations ever did. This season is about embodiment, becoming the message, living the truth quietly, letting your consistency preach for you, letting your boundaries teach for you, letting your results testify for you. Heaven is shaping you into someone who does not ask for respect, someone who does not chase validation, someone who does not need to perform to be valued. You are becoming anchored, and anchored people are not easily dismissed. Stay faithful in the unseen. Stay disciplined in the ordinary. Stay aligned when no one applauds. Respect is not missing from your life, it is forming around you. And when it fully arrives, it will feel familiar, because you became the kind of person who could carry it long before the world acknowledged it. Chosen one. There is a sacred threshold you cross when you stop asking why others don't see you and start asking how heaven is shaping you. This is the moment where self-pity dissolves into purpose, where frustration matures into focus, where you realize that respect is not blocked, it is being assembled. I want to speak to the quiet grief you carry, the grief of knowing you have depth, discipline, and vision, yet being treated as optional. That grief can harden you if you let it, or it can refine you. Heaven is inviting you to choose refinement. Refinement begins when you accept this truth: God does not elevate people to prove a point. He elevates people to fulfill an assignment, and assignments require capacity. Capacity is built through pressure, repetition, and restraint. This is why your journey has not been rushed. This is why shortcuts were closed. This is why certain doors did not open when you begged them to. Chosen one. Restraint is one of the highest forms of power. Anyone can react. Anyone can speak impulsively. Anyone can demand attention. But restraint signals maturity. It tells the spirit realm that you are governed, not driven, and governed people are trusted with influence. There was a time when I thought assertiveness meant dominance. I believed that if I spoke louder, pushed harder, or asserted myself more aggressively, respect would follow. But heaven corrected me. Respect follows clarity, not force. Authority flows from alignment, not intimidation. When you are aligned, you don't need to raise your voice. Your presence speaks. Your consistency speaks. Your boundaries speak. And when you stop over-explaining, people begin to listen more closely. Chosen one, you are entering a season where God is refining your internal posture. He is teaching you how to stand without bracing yourself, how to speak without needing approval, how to move without asking permission from people who were never assigned to validate you. This inner shift changes everything. Your tone becomes steadier, your decisions become cleaner, your emotions become less reactive. You stop chasing reassurance, you stop negotiating your standards, and people feel this shift before they understand it. Respect grows in environments where energy is stable. Chaotic energy repels trust. Stable energy invites it. This is why heaven emphasizes peace. Peace is not passivity. Peace is power under control. Chosen one, your peace is becoming your authority. Now let us address the fear that often surfaces at this stage, the fear of being misunderstood. When you stop overperforming, some will mislabel you. When you stop overgiving, some will accuse you of changing. When you stop tolerating nonsense, some will call you difficult. Do not internalize these labels. They are reactions to your evolution, not reflections of your character. You are not becoming harsh. You are becoming clear. Clarity disrupts dysfunction, and dysfunction always resists clarity. I had to learn that being misunderstood is not always a problem to fix. Sometimes it is confirmation that you are no longer operating on the same frequency. When God upgrades you, translation errors happen. Not everyone can hear you the same way anymore. Chosen one, this is where trust becomes critical. Trust that God sees the whole picture. Trust that your obedience is being recorded. Trust that silence is not stalling your progress. Often silence is the space where your authority matures. Do not rush to fill silence. Let it work for you. Silence exposes motives. It reveals who is uncomfortable without your validation. It highlights who respects you without needing constant access. And in that exposure, alignment begins to rearrange your life. Now let us talk about results, because heaven ties respect to fruit, not hype, not intention. Fruit, tangible evidence that something is growing under your stewardship. You may not see explosive change yet, but pay attention to subtle improvements. Are your habits more disciplined? Are your conversations more intentional? Are your decisions less emotional and more anchored? These are signs of internal fruit. Internal fruit always precedes external recognition. Chosen one. Stop comparing your pace to those who cut corners. Stop measuring your journey against those who skipped character formation. Many who rise quickly fall quietly. God is not interested in temporary elevation. He is building permanence. The top 1% you admire did not arrive by accident. They learned to endure seasons of obscurity. They learned to refine their craft quietly. They learned to respect themselves before demanding it from others. And this is where mastery becomes sacred. Mastery is not obsession. It is devotion to growth. It is choosing to improve even when no one is watching. It is refusing to stagnate while waiting for recognition. Every hour you invest in sharpening your skill is a seed. Every uncomfortable practice session is preparation. Every mistake you correct is alignment. And heaven multiplies seeds that are planted in humility. Chosen one, do not despise the small disciplines. They are shaping your capacity for greater influence. What you do repeatedly is who you become. And who you become determines how the world responds to you. There is also a shift happening in how you relate to people. You are becoming less available but more present, less reactive but more responsive, less scattered but more focused. This shift can feel isolating at first, but isolation is not abandonment when it is guided by God. Sometimes he pulls you aside to recalibrate your identity away from noise, away from opinions, away from distractions that dilute your clarity. In this quiet recalibration, something powerful happens. You begin to trust your own discernment again. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You stop outsourcing your confidence. Chosen one, self-trust is a sign of maturity, and mature people command respect without trying. I want to speak directly to your spirit now. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The discomfort you feel is not instability, it is expansion. Expansion stretches what is familiar. It challenges old coping mechanisms. It invites you to operate at a higher level of responsibility, and responsibility is the currency of respect. When people sense that you take responsibility for your choices, your time, your energy, and your growth, they adjust how they treat you. Responsibility signals reliability. Reliability builds trust. Trust births respect. This is why heaven has been calling you inward. Not to isolate you, but to anchor you. Anchored people are not tossed by trends. They are not shaken by opinions. They are not threatened by competition. Anchored people become reference points. Chosen one, you are becoming a reference point. Someone others look to when they need stability, when they need wisdom, when they need clarity. But reference points are forged, not found. They are built through consistency, restraint, and obedience over time. Do not rush this process. Let it complete its work. Respect is not something you chase. It is something that gathers around alignment, and alignment is happening in you right now. Stay steady. Stay humble. Stay disciplined. Heaven is establishing you, and when establishment is complete, you will notice something quietly shift. Conversations will change. Invitations will come differently. Your voice will carry weight without effort, not because you demanded respect, but because you became someone who could carry it. Chosen one. There comes a point in this journey where the question is no longer, when will they respect me? The question becomes, am I living in a way that makes disrespect impossible? This is the final internal shift. It is subtle, but it is decisive. And once it happens, everything begins to realign around you. I want you to understand something deeply. Respect is not something people give you because they are kind. Respect is something people offer when your presence activates order. When you walk into a room and confusion settles, when clarity follows your words, when stability accompanies your decisions, people respond differently. Not because you asked them to, but because their nervous system recognizes leadership. This is what the top 1% understands instinctively. They don't chase authority, they embody it. And authority is not loud. It is calm. It is rooted. It does not rush to prove itself. It waits. Chosen one, heaven has been training you to wait without weakening, to stand without stiffening, to lead without announcing yourself. These are not passive traits. They are signs of spiritual and emotional maturity. There was a season when I thought success would silence doubt. I believed that if I achieved enough, earned enough, or produced enough visible results, people would finally understand my value. But heaven revealed a greater truth. Results open doors, but character determines how long they stay open. Authority rooted in insecurity collapses under pressure. Authority rooted in alignment endures. You are being shaped for endurance. This is why your path has demanded integrity when shortcuts were available. This is why you were corrected when compromise would have been easier. This is why certain temptations lost their appeal. God was not restricting you, He was refining you. Chosen one, refinement always feels like loss before it feels like gain. You lose illusions. You lose false support. You lose environments that no longer match your frequency. But what you gain is discernment, and discernment is power. Now let me speak plainly. Some people will never respect you no matter how aligned you become. That is not a failure, that is a filter. Respect is not universal, it is selective. It flows towards structure, not sentiment. Release the need to be understood by everyone. That need will keep you trapped in explanation, and explanation dilutes authority. When you explain too much, you invite negotiation, and your assignment is not negotiable. Chosen one silence is becoming one of your greatest tools, not the silence of fear, but the silence of certainty. You no longer feel compelled to correct every misunderstanding. You no longer need to respond to every comment. You no longer chase closure with people who cannot follow you forward. This silence is not withdrawal, it is composure. Composure is rare, and rarity commands respect. I want you to notice how your inner world has changed. You are less reactive, less desperate for affirmation, more intentional with your energy. These are not accidents. These are signs that heaven's work is taking root. When you are anchored internally, external chaos loses its power over you. You stop rising and falling with circumstances. You stop measuring yourself by other people's responses. You stop performing. Chosen one performance exhausts the soul. Presence restores it. Presence is what shifts rooms. Presence is what alters dynamics. Presence is what causes people to pause when you speak. And presence is cultivated in private. The hours you spent alone, the disciplines no one applauded, the boundaries that cost you relationships, the obedience that delayed gratification, all of it was preparation, nothing was wasted. Now let's talk about wealth, not just financial but positional. Heaven-backed wealth flows toward those who can steward influence without losing alignment. Money follows order. Opportunity follows clarity. Expansion follows responsibility. If you mishandle respect, it corrupts you. If you chase it, it eludes you. But if you become someone who can carry it, it multiplies. This is why God has been careful with you. Chosen one, you are not late. You are on time. You are arriving with substance, not spectacle, with depth, not noise, with stability, not hype. The world is full of people who look powerful but collapse under pressure. Heaven is raising you to be someone who remains standing. This is also why your calling feels heavy at times. Weight is not oppression when it is paired with strength. Weight is responsibility. And responsibility is the currency of respect. You are learning to take responsibility for your thoughts, your habits, your time, your growth. You are no longer blaming circumstances. You are no longer waiting to be rescued. You are partnering with heaven. Partnership changes everything. When heaven sees you take ownership, it releases increase. Not all at once, not recklessly, but strategically. Chosen one, you are entering a phase where your words carry consequence, where your decisions ripple outward, where people feel safer because you are steady. This is leadership, and leadership always attracts respect. But let me ground you here. Respect is not the goal. Alignment is. Respect is the byproduct. If you make respect the goal, you will manipulate. If you make alignment the goal, respect will follow you. Stay focused on alignment. Stay honest with yourself. Where are you still compromising? Where are you still tolerating what drains you? Where are you still shrinking to preserve comfort? These questions are not accusations. They are invitations. Heaven is not demanding perfection from you. It is inviting commitment. Commitment to your growth, commitment to your calling, commitment to your integrity. And integrity is what stabilizes success. Chosen one, you do not need to become someone else to be respected. You need to become more fully who God already designed you to be. Strip away the fear, release the need for approval, anchor yourself in truth. Truth does not argue, it stands. As you continue to stand, you will notice subtle shifts. People will speak differently around you. They will consult you more. They will hesitate before dismissing you. These are not accidents. These are responses to alignment. But stay humble. Humility keeps respect from turning into pride. Humility keeps authority clean. Humility keeps you teachable. You are not above anyone. You are simply becoming grounded in who you are, and grounded people are difficult to shake. Chosen one, this journey you've been on, the waiting, the refining, the solitude, the resistance has not been punishment, it has been preparation. God was not ignoring you, He was building you. Now you are stepping into a season where you no longer chase recognition. You recognize yourself, you honor your assignment, you protect your energy, you steward your gifts. And because you do, the world responds differently, not because you demanded respect, but because you became someone who carries it naturally. Stand tall, stay aligned, walk steadily. Heaven has established you, and the respect you once longed for will meet you on the road you've been faithfully walking all along. Chosen one. As this message comes to a close, let this truth settle deep within your spirit. Heaven has already seen how you show up when no one is watching. The world may measure you by opinions and timing, but God measures you by obedience, consistency, and the posture of your heart. And tonight, a quiet transfer is already in motion. Anointed one, you are not late and you are not overlooked. You are standing in your exact Kairos moment, the appointed time, where what has been formed in secret begins to carry weight in public. Scripture reminds us that in due season we reap if we do not grow weary, and that season is drawing near. Do not be distracted by who has not recognized you. Their blindness does not cancel your calling. Remain faithful. Keep your hands steady. Keep your spirit aligned. What you have built with integrity cannot be ignored for long. I declare over you now, may divine favor go before you, may clarity rest upon your decisions, and may respect rise around you naturally as you walk in alignment. May the work of your hands be established, and may peace guard your mind as heaven completes what it began. If this word resonated with you, seal it quietly, subscribe, and leave 777 in the comments as a sign of agreement. Then walk forward with gratitude, chosen one, knowing what God has started, He will surely bring to completion.